Hi and welcome to another episode of the Career Stories podcast. My name is Joe.
And I'm Carrie.
We are careers advisors, if you don't already know, for Skills Development Scotland. Our roles are to help people, advise people to figure out what they want to do. However, we get a change of scenery here as a host of this podcast, where we actually talk to career professionals in their current roles, find out a bit about their journey from school up until now, and also about obviously what they're doing at the moment, but also their future ambitions and what they are they still striving for something else as well. So we're really excited today.
Yes, so we've got the very lovely Eilidh Wynd, who is a commercial sales executive for Simon Howie Foods. Very fancy job title. I love it.
Sounds way cooler than it is.
No, it's fancy and it's cool in its own way. So you do quite a lot. You've got your job, but then you're also doing a lot of like sharing your experience of working in that sector. So we'll definitely get your socials at the end to share with everybody. But you're originally from Dunblane. You have a bit of a musical background. You've done some teaching. So really, I want to get into the nitty gritty of how did you make this journey to where you are now? So we quite like to start with like were you at school? What was your plans? And then kind of go from there.
Yeah. So I was very much a SWAT in school. I've got a teacher as a mum. So I studied really hard. Not that it really showed sometimes, but I did study. But I was like in all the committees, like S6. It was like a job needed done. I was the person that always was like, I'll do it. I'm very type A, very like wanting to get stuff done, which very much continues on to now. Everyone kind of knows me as a bit of that. My plan in school kind of varied, but towards the end of school, my plan was I was going to go and do language teaching. Okay. And I was like, I've got this plan, really set. Didn't quite get the hires I wanted, but I still like just about got in. But my mum was like, if you do teaching and education, kind of narrows down what you could do. So why don't you do teaching and business? And I was like, I don't know, because I wanted to be a teacher. Like, that's my plan. Because, I don't know, it's one of those things, because I'm quite type A, it's like, well, I have a plan, so I'm going to do my plan. That's my plan. I was just like, try and open it. And I was like, I'm going to go to Strathclyde and I'm going to do teaching and education, teaching and languages, sorry. And I ended up going to Stirling Uni and did international management with languages. Best decision I ever made. Absolutely loved it. Stirling Uni's great campus. Big fan. But yes, I went to uni still with the plan of, okay, I'll do languages and business, and then I'll do a postgrad in education. Yeah. Started doing business and totally fell in love with it. We've got like a family business background like a few years back. But so it's very much like in my DNA doing sales. So yeah, so I then kind of picked up a bit more of my business. And then when I was finishing, I was like, that's what I want to go into, not teaching or languages. So yeah. Very different to school.
Well, I was going to say I like this because I always, when we're in school, the one thing I talk to the pupils about is making the right first step. So not necessarily knowing exactly what the career is at the end of the journey, but the journey could be 4 or 5 years at university, college, whatever you may do. So is the journey right first? Yeah. And then from that, you'll start to obviously understand the course, the industries that it could take you, then the jobs, which seems to be what happened for you, I guess,
exactly,
which is good.
Yeah, because I knew I wanted to go to uni, but like other than that, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this. But I'm so glad I went and then just kind of like slightly opened my mind a wee bit. So.
And I think that's so difficult to do because you're right, there are like, depending on the way your personality works and how you process things and things like that, I do think some people, they'll come to us and they have a very rigid plan in place of this is what I'm going to do and this is what I've wanted to do for a long, long time, and that is the plan. And it can be really difficult then if something changes, exam results or just life happens and it changes, and then they can almost have that feeling of I didn't do that thing that I said I would do, and it feels like a fail when actually it's not a fail. It's just a slightly different. Yeah, a pivot. I love a pivot, and I think being able to kind of take that and go with it can be a really good thing. But then also it's lovely when people do have that idea to be able to run with it as a starting point, and then as long as you can pivot, then you can figure it out.
Did your international management? Because every time you hear the word international, usually that means you get to go abroad. Did you get to do that?
Yeah, so I did a semester semester abroad. So I went to Pamplona in Spain, like the North Spain where they do the big bull run. That's what it's famous for. I controversially really did not enjoy study abroad. So it's funny because it's almost people who do study abroad by choice. Like if you're doing like journalism or something and you do a semester, people seem to have a great time. Quite a lot of language students, I think, struggle. So like I went to Spain, but I still had to do French when I was over there. So I was doing translation classes from Spanish into French. It was awful.
Wow.
It was awful. But it was a big change because like I lived at home for uni. So my first time living abroad, like away from home, was abroad with people who didn't speak English. The north of Spain is very different to the south. Some of the people were lovely, but it's not the really open Spanish culture that people are used to, like in the south. They're much more closed off. So I really struggled being a Scottish person going over wanting to chat to everyone and no one wanted to talk to me. So it wasn't quite what I imagined. Yeah. But again, so that was a bit of a pivot because I was like, I'm going to go abroad. It's going to be amazing. Like I'm going to tan. I had snow the majority of the time I was there. I was like, this is not what I was promised. So did that. And then I did 2 stints in France. So I did 3 weeks working just outside Bordeaux, doing like PR and finance, which is hilarious considering my finance skills. And then a week in Marseille on a language school. So like a few different experiences, but we don't export or anything with Simon Howie, so it's funny having like a language degree and I'm like only use it when I go on holidays. But,
still a good skill to have.
Exactly.
So then if we speak about, you went on to the different degree and then you decided, right, you were thinking I'll do my postgrad in teaching and that'll be that, but then you went, no, actually this is what I love. Amazing. But then what happened once you'd finished? Like, how did you go straight to Simon Howie, or was there other things? Like, what happened?
So I went on a graduate program. So that was kind of when I kind of realised like 3rd and 4th year teaching maybe wasn't what I wanted to do, and I was enjoying the business a bit more. I was like, okay, I think business of some sort. Yeah. So in 4th year, I was applying for graduate programs, and I got into the Bakkavor commercial program. So no one has ever really heard of Bakkavor, but everyone buys their products. So they do own label products. So the 2 accounts I worked on was, you know, the Tesco stir fry deal. Oh, okay. So that's made by Bakkavor and sold to Tesco.
Cool.
Right? So there's a few things like that, like desserts and pizzas, soups, like fresh soups. Most of it's made by Bakkavor or another company like that. So I was on their commercial program, but I graduated in 2020.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see. So you didn't get a graduation ceremony?
No, I got it 2 years later, which was really weird because then everyone kind of came back and you saw who'd got jobs.
Oh no!
So I was like, oh, I'm on like a commercial program. I'm like, oh yeah, so I'm still looking, and you're like, oh, this is so awkward. No. It was lovely though for like a little reunion. Yeah. But yeah, so I was really lucky actually because I was meant to start in the September of 2020 and they delayed it to January 2021, which was so good because loads of companies cut their programs for like my year group and the year after. So it was like I was quite lucky to still have a job. Yeah. So the January I went down south, so I was in Lincolnshire. What a place. Very different to here. Again, I felt like I was back in Spain, but because they were very closed off. Like I was trying to be very like neighbourly and like chat to everyone, and so but it was fine. Like I had a really good time, and like I lived with 4 other people on the grad programme, so it was kind of like a uni house vibe, which was really nice. So I had a great time. So I was there for 18 months. So I worked on, my first placement was with Tesco, so doing the stir fry and like pots of fruit, you know, you got like melon and pots. So that, and then the second placement was on Waitrose Bakery and Desserts. Yeah, so like all the weight you lose working on stir fry, you put back on again. So I did that, and yeah, I loved it. It was really, really good. Like totally recommend grad programs. They've got loads of teaching, like got lots of lessons still. So I was learning on the job, but then we'd have like a graduate day where it'd be like, okay, you're learning all about finance or all about product development. So it's things that like you don't directly do, but you got to learn about. And then we worked with a company called Fieri, who loads of them are ex-army, but it's like a leadership kind of program. They're really hard to describe, but they teach you different leadership skills and like how to listen, how to work in a group, that sort of thing. Whilst like we went up Snowdon with them. Oh, so they're like communication skills up Snowdon, and like we canoed down the River Wye for like 7 hours one day, and like very cool company. So the program was great. Like I learned a lot doing that. So I'm glad I did that rather than just like straight into a job, I think. So it made the bridge easier.
How did someone as shy as you end up in sales? No, so like obviously like, you talk about, you've learned a lot about the kind of business routes and the different areas of business, and even then I think that's a really good point you mentioned about Tesco and stir fry and the fruit pots, is that ultimately people just assume that gets on a shelf and that's just it, right? So maybe don't understand how much each product has a plethora of jobs to help them get to that point.
Yeah.
So what was the transition for you from the graduate into realising that, you maybe wanted to move into sales, or did you want to go into sales at that point?
Yeah, so on the programme, I was enrolled in like the commercial programme. So there was like a finance programme, there was development, there was like 6 or 7 different strands. So when I was looking for grad programmes, my main thing was like a Scottish brand. So I looked at all like the whiskey companies and things.
Yep.
And I think my liver's glad I didn't get one. And then food companies. And Backavour's one came up when I was reading through it, and like all the programme kind of deal that came with it. I was like, this sounds really cool. And like commercial is not really a word that people use other than like commercial properties or something.
Yeah.
So when I looked into it, I was like, oh, this is kind of sales. You kind of chat a lot. And like I went for the assessment day, which was in London, which I was automatically like, this is amazing. Like got the underground. I was like proper like country bumpkin. And I'm not even like a country girl, but I was like, this is amazing. And they were like, why should you work in commercial? And I was just chatting away, and they're like, you're totally, like, because I am quite chatty and like personable and stuff, they were like, you're totally meant to be doing sales. So I was like, okay. So, but yeah, I was just like, that just kind of works for, and I love The Apprentice and all that sort of stuff. And like that sort of chat and trying to get the best for your people is like what I quite enjoy. So
nice.
Yeah, just worked out quite well.
Do you know what I love about this is like, see when you go, like when you think back to, so I think back to like my parents' evenings, I feel like you might have had similar feedback at your parents' evenings than I had, and it was a lot about chatting and like being like, oh, it's really, really lovely girl. Very chatty though.
I got chatty and rushes because I usually get too excited. And my first review with my boss at Simon Howie's, Stephen was like, oh yeah, you rush a wee bit. And I was like, I've had that since like primary 2. Kind of like it's still an area of development.
Yeah. but you're right. But clearly, like what I find interesting and why you brought that up is because you're now playing to your strengths. You're now using one of the skills that we probably advocate is a really important skill in any job, regardless what you're doing. That ability to communicate. And particularly in a job like yours, that's going to be key.
You just have to be able to work as a team and because we're kind of the point of contact with like, okay, so what's this coming in at? What dates are happening? When are we launching? All that sort of stuff. People have to want to talk to you. So one of my bosses when I was at Backavour is like, you can teach skills like margins and like physical skills, but sometimes you can't teach something that's like quite, so it's natural for me to go and chat to people, but I also have friends who find that really difficult but are more than happy on a spreadsheet, whereas it's quite hard to teach it that way, whereas with my one I'm like, you have to teach me to slow down slightly.
Of course.
So I'm like, that's maybe a bit easier, but I don't know. So
yeah, and I think that comes down, we speak to pupils in school quite a lot about using like how your strengths, so as part of your career management skills, and one of those is strengths, and that can be, there are ones that you can learn and you can develop, so you can learn about margins and you can learn about how to operate an Excel spreadsheet, apparently, but things like communicating, like you can develop that and you can push yourself out of your comfort zone, but who you are as a person, like that's a natural strength that comes, and your natural ability to talk to people, like it's difficult to turn
teach
off,
exactly.
or it's difficult to teach it as well. So I think that's like, it's really good that you've kind of followed that and went, right, this is what I'm good at, so I'm going to do a job, because you're going to enjoy a job more if you're good at it, aren't you?
Yes.
It's not nice coming home and being like, you know what, they don't like me.
So then, if for anyone who wouldn't know who Simon Howie is or are, what is that then? What is your role currently? I know we talked about sales, but what is it and how does it work into the kind of the bigger ethos of that company? Yeah,
so Simon Howie Foods is a meat manufacturing company. So we're based in Dunning, which is like just outside Perth, like near Gleneagle for the golf. So we're based there. So we're the UK's #1 haggis company, Scotland's #1 black pudding company. We make bacon, burgers, anything kind of meat related. We do veggies as well, but mostly meat things is what we're known for. So my role, so hard to describe my role, but basically I work in sales, negotiation, organising basically, and I work between ourselves and retailers, so we're in all retailers, as well as like nationally listed, so that's a big achievement for a Scottish brand because it's hard to break into England sometimes, and we're in with all the supermarkets, as well as working with wholesalers who then deliver into hotels, restaurants, schools, that sort of thing. So yeah, very broad. So, but we basically, my job is I have to make us money and them money, keep everyone happy. But it's not just about me going in like Simon Howie stuff is the best. Obviously, I think it is. But we look at data and have like insights into what actually people want. So it's not just about having our haggis, it's about having us and someone else, or having this range and how we think you should have on shelf and all that sort of stuff. So I work quite closely with buyers and things like that, as well as supply chain, logistics, internal planning. So it's a very varied job.
You basically are full apprentice mode then. You mentioned you like
100%,
apprentice,
yeah.
so you really are doing a lot
Exactly.
of the...
It's very fun.
Yeah, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. But it's good though, because it's good to hear from anybody that's thinking about getting into business. Obviously yours seems to cross over pretty much a lot of probably every department really in some aspect, but the one thing you talked about in the negotiation side, again, I still find this really interesting because again, when we just see it on a shelf, we forget that you're fighting to get it there, you're fighting for space, and then also from maybe like the business perspective, you talked about data analysis and stuff, about, you know, you're tracking how successful it's been, you know how are we in the right space, what's happening. So it's quite an interesting
I love it, because there's 2 or 3 data companies. So we work with Nielsen, who buy your till data, and then we can see what's selling where, if it's been on promotion, how much of, say you sold 10,000 units, X amount was sold on promotion, X if it wasn't. You can buy club card data and look at what people are buying their stuff with. You can look at what is in different baskets. It's variant. I can geek out on it for ages. Some people are just like, whew. But there'll be like presentations about what, there was one recently, and it's about how different countries in the UK, how they react to new products, and Scottish consumers are more likely to buy new products to try it. And I think it was Wales were like the least, there was like a word for it, but so we're basically the most keen on trying new things.
But that's like when you go into Aldi and they've got their special buy on and you're like, oh, what is that?
Might as well try it.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're a bit more like open to doing it.
But it's good though, like it's funny, like, you know, you mentioned like meats and that, like maybe not the prettiest thing in the world to try and sell, right? But however, you have to find a way to make it work in terms of like trends and things. It's just like selling any really wonderful product like a TV or something. You're still in the same process, which is really interesting. And do you feel like, I don't know, how long have you done the job for now?
I've been there 3.5 years.
Yeah, and like, do you feel it's a job that you are constantly still learning and kind of tracking? And
100%, because it's even like, I mean, you try telling English people what's in haggis. It's
they
never
don't
the
like
easiest.
it, do they?
Well, to be fair, we actually sell more haggis in England than in Scotland, right? I know.
Wow,
Well, if you think about it, England's bigger.
To be fair,
That's what we do to everyone.
I didn't
Everyone's
go
like,
there
really?
either.
I know.
Aye.
It's my favourite one to do to people. But yeah, it's hard though. So it's like you hear it from different people, like different techniques of saying stuff, and different cuts of meat and what's happening. So at the minute, like beef prices are really high, and so then you can hear all about like why that's happening, how that's impacting farmers, how it's impacting like the auctions, all that sort of stuff. So I don't really need it exactly for my job, but it's good for like background knowledge. So like I went to an abattoir when I was quite new to the job, and no one said I had to go, but I was like, I'm not going to be naive enough to not know where it comes from. So it's just kind of being open to learning new things, and everyone in the industry has been great because they all know I'm just like, talk to me about this, tell me about this, like, can I ask you about this? So it's just kind of being open to it, and the industry is so welcoming and really encouraging. So yeah, constantly learning new stuff. And my boss is great. He's been doing the job 14 years, so he's commercial director. So nothing he doesn't know is like worth knowing, sort of things. Constantly picking up stuff. So yeah, it's good.
Have you ever been to the mart when they're like doing the auctioning on the
I've
on
not
the animals?
been. I've seen the clips of it, and I've seen them at the Highland. We go to the Highland Show every year, so we see it there, and it's very intense.
It's crazy. So I live where I live in the village that I stay. There's a mart, and they have it, and we went with the school for like a visit, and they did a demonstration of the auctioneer thing, and honestly
Crazy.
my mind, and it was like it was so fast paced. I was so excited. I was like, I almost walked out with a cow. Who knows? I think I would have got in trouble if I went home with a cow.
Exactly.
But like, you know, think how well the grass would be cut. Nobody would have to cut the grass anymore. So,
And
you know.
I don't. Well, what I find important when we talk about like industries as well is that we speak to some people in this lovely seat where their industry is dominated by, you know, either men or female or whatever it may be. I would hazard a guess that you are one of the minority in that industry.
Yeah, so it's funny. So in buying and in sales, I think it's quite like an even split. Within the meat industry, it is a lot lower. But I quite enjoy it because it's like my first like event. So there'll be like retailers will have like tasting events for managers or whatever. And I turned up with like, I have this bright pink blazer that I'm kind of known for. So I turned up and they were just like, who's that? And I was like, hello. So they're all used to me now.
It's like Legally Blonde.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how it's channeling.
Literally top of my lips.
Yeah.
Like I was just about to say it.
Yeah.
We're
We're in sync.
We're
We're
so
in
in
sync.
sync.
I just kind of embraced it, but I'm like,
Yeah.
because I think they very much think of was like going to be like blonde, a bit daft, and wouldn't last. And I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's used to me now.
And I think as well, it's like having that passion and showing that there are all these different areas, and a lot of the people that we're speaking to are kind of showing that their skills transfer across a lot of different areas, but also it's about having that passion for what you do. So you clearly really have such a passion about this, so that comes across. So like you say, if someone has an issue with that, then that's kind of their issue, not yours.
But it's important because some people will listen and will, you know, maybe be encouraged by the idea that, you know, it's okay to go into, you know, roles regardless of, you know, the kind of the circumstance around who works there and what happens, because ultimately it's about your own growth and how you deal with that. But there's a lot of pupils we will find might stereotypically go down certain roles because they'll feel more comfortable in those. So it's quite good to hear from you that, you know, there was challenges, there is always challenges, but, you know, it's
well, that's
their problem.
it, because there's definitely, I've been quite lucky because there's certain brands we're like quite pally with just because we see them at lots of events. Lots of them are men, have been more than welcoming. But I'm also quite happy to kind of take up the space with like, if we're having like a chat and it's all the brands and I'm just like, well, I'm here as well, so you just have to kind of get used to that. And some of them really can't cope with it, which I find quite funny, but then I'm like, well, I'm just going to turn up more. But I'm one of those people, I'm like, if you don't want to be my friend, I will make you be my friend. I'm like, you will like me.
See, I've never met anyone that is more like me. I'm like, if someone doesn't like me, I take that as like a personal challenge.
I'm like, okay, come on,
let's be friends.
We knew for a fact coming here that I would be the guy on the side here. Like, we knew this
Tell me
would
about
be,
you.
This is not about me, but
it's a safe space.
But no, I do think there's so many people. Like, I was having this conversation in class. We were talking about like gender stereotypes and, you know, women in these industries, men in these industries, and it's like it doesn't even just you. I think some people assume it starts in the workplace. It doesn't start in the workplace. It starts when a girl doesn't take physics or she doesn't take woodwork or, you know, or a boy doesn't take childcare or drama or whatever. And they take, and I think it's like they're looking at who's going to be in that classroom. Oh, it's going to be a whole group of boys. I don't want to be in with them. It'll be a nightmare. I don't want to do it. So I'm not going to do it. And then straight away, that's putting a barrier up in place. So that's really difficult when you're in school to get over that. But as you kind of get older and more experienced and like and feel more confident in yourself and your own worth and what you bring to the table, that can get easier. But I suppose how would you say to those people, go for what you want to do?
I don't even know, like, because the first time it kind of started happening, or like the first time something was said, I was actually really shocked because I'm like, I'm very vocal and like quite defensive of like friends, family, like our brand. But I was so shocked. I was a bit like, oh, someone's missed a software update. Like, you can't really say that anymore. So now I try and see it as like a funny thing. And I'm just like, oh, you'll never guess what they said this time. But I think it's just like a go for it. Because I'm like, well, what else are you going to do? Otherwise, there's nothing's going to happen. So, but it's also good because some of them just don't see me as like a woman sort of thing. They're just kind of like a what Eilidh works for Simon Howie, which like I'd rather have than like, oh well, Eilidh's the woman representing whatever.
I get that,
so I'm like, I'm not there to be the token female. I'm there to do a job.
Exactly.
Of course. So that's the kind of the side of it, isn't it? You want to challenge stereotypes, but also feel like you're not seen as a stereotype and you're just doing your job and you're good at it. Which obviously I assume you are though. I assume you are. Because if you weren't, we wouldn't have you here. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
We've read your stats. You're doing really well in sales. And so then talk about then, right? You're here now. You're in this role. You're 3 years in the industry. You'd mentioned kind of off camera about, you know, the fact that maybe you learnt about the food industry just by planned happenstance. It just happened. You were there. You're in the job, and now you're learning. Do you feel it would definitely have benefited you beforehand if there was something promoting certain industries, particularly in Scotland, because it's such a massive part of Scottish kind of heritage, I guess?
Well, I think it's one of those things, when I was finishing uni and when I was in uni, I was like, I'd love to work for a Scottish brand. I've got a Gaelic name, I love a ceilidh, used to play in a pipe band, like I'm about as Scottish as it goes. So I was just like, oh, I'd love to do that. So, but there wasn't really anything other than like the whiskey industries are great at promoting grad programs, whereas the food companies kind of aren't. And Scotland Food and Drink, I adore them, but they have a graduate program I'd never heard of. And I was like, oh, when I did hear about it, I was like, I'd have loved to have done that. But also, was it beneficial for me to go away, work for, like, Bakkavor is a massive company. So I was like, that also did me the world of good skills wise, network wise, and moved away. I would never have thought I was going to live in England, and I was just like, right, we'll go do it. And then so when I came back, I almost appreciated it a bit more. But I think it definitely, an awareness of what there is here is great, because I was like, I want to work in food, where can I work? There's not really anything grad program wise it's massive that you could be like, okay, well, I'll apply for it. It's more like jobs. So yeah, I think I would have liked it, but also I don't know, I don't think I'd want to have changed what I've done to have got to here. So it's one of those, I'm like, I think definitely an awareness would be good. So,
and I think coming back to that awareness, that is a big part of what you're doing with your social media, is you're doing that. So like, that's obviously, you're not doing that through Simon Howie, are you? That's your own thing that you're doing. So can you tell us a wee bit about how that came about?
Yeah, so a commercial executive, if you like hyphenate it, it'll be like C.E. And Diary of a CEO was like, I mean, it still is, but it was blowing up when I'd like started. And then I posted something on LinkedIn about, I'd had like a really rough day at work. So basically, I love LinkedIn for like a nosy and like finding out about stuff. I hate how cheesy it is, because it's all like, well, it's like, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like, I got married the other day, here's what it taught me about sales, right? Like that meme kills me every time. I love it. Like I ran a half marathon, I was like, here's what it taught me about business. And I'm like, oh, whatever. So no one ever says they've had a bad day on LinkedIn. And I was like, right. So I put up this thing and I was like, I've had this really bad day, you'll never guess what I've done, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, So then I kept thinking about it and I was like, oh, I should do like a blog or something. So Diary of a C.E.Uh-Oh started. And it's like all about my journey in work and like all the great things that happen, because we do have great things like launches, and when things go well, it's great. But it's also like, had a really rough day, or like everyone's getting promoted and I'm not getting promoted, or this happened, I've had a really rough day, or I'm really struggling with imposter syndrome and like all this sort of stuff. And it's not really about me getting likes or like whatever the like traction is with it, but the amount of times I've posted something and someone's either commented on it with like a link to, oh, I watched this podcast, or I've read this book that's really good, so then other people are seeing it. Or even just like when I did the imposter syndrome one, I was really struggling, and someone messaged me and they're like, I totally feel you, I don't know why no one else is speaking about this. So it's not like I'm thinking it's going to blow up and be huge or anything, but people are like aware of it. And yeah, it just kind of took off. And then I'm now kind of associated with this. And they're like, I think I follow you on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh, I'm like an Instagram influencer, but like on LinkedIn. So, and then like we'll be at an event, so like we're at the Highland Show, and someone's like, oh, this will be on LinkedIn in the morning, won't it? I was like, probably, yes.
Yes,
probably. Like great content.
But even just that outlet for you to it's like that journaling sort of aspect that, like, you know, a lot of us when we're younger, we write in our wee diary about this has happened and it's terrible, and then you've got it off your chest. I used to I shouldn't really admit this. I used to put people's names on a bit of paper and I used to put them in the freezer if they upset me. And then then it would be this whole thing that I would be like, well, I'd be upset about something and I'd be like, but they're in the freezer. And it's just silly. So it's taking it off your chest almost. So then with that, which is a slightly more grown-up version of in the freezer.
It's also slightly more public.
Anyway.
People post it and I'm like, oh, did I really share that? Oh, yeah, I did, sorry.
But I think that's a really good thing. So it must, you know, you've got that out there. And I think it is really important for people to see that life is not always perfect. Even in your perfect dream job, there are going to be days that you're like, this was the worst day ever. I want to hide in my bed forever and never be seen in public again. And then you get up and you go back to work the next day and you keep going even when there are bad days. And I think that's really important to show, rather than like what you say, this cheesy thing of everything's perfect. And, you know, if you're in this job and you're not enjoying it every second, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it was so funny, because I was really fortunate. I got shortlisted for an award last year, and that's what kicked off my imposter syndrome, which sounds so bad because everyone's just like, oh, this is so amazing, she's doing so well. Whereas in reality, I was like so second guessing myself at work. Like I was so emotional, like just really scared. And it's so many times like that I'm like, people won't post about it. Or it's even if I'm really like, I'm like, the amount of times I've done posts, I'm like, I've not posted in a week, I've done nothing exciting apart from my job, I hope everyone's well. It's like nothing exciting to talk about, but I'm like, there you go. And it's like Burns and Christmas time is so busy for us, so like the stress is insane, and like you're working all hours, you're working most weekends, like it's very full on. So I'm very vocal about it, because I'm just like, it's hard, but also you keep going. Like you don't get to just wallow. So.
It's probably your own, like, it's almost like therapy for yourself.
100%.
Because you get to offload, even if, and it's not like you're talking directly to someone, but you know that it will go out there and you've got it off your chest, I guess.
Well, that's it, because there's been like posts I've done and no one's noticed it, or like the analytics have been rubbish on it, and I'm like, I don't really care because I've said my bit, and maybe if someone's struggling one day and then they might just happen to see it because a hashtag's on it or something, and then I've posted other random ones and it's got a huge amount like attention on it. And I was like, oh, like we did one, I can't remember, it must have been like start of this year, and there was a thing going around about putting your photo into AI and it popped out a Jellycat version. So I made a Jellycat haggis. It went crazy because then everyone else, like Mackie's did one, Equi's did one, Taylor's Crisps did one, and there was like this little gang of like Jellycat brands. I love that. So I got like so many new followers because I'd made this AI thing, and I was just like, there you go. So varies, but yeah, people are kind of seem to quite like it if they do read it, or they might not read it and they're just like, whatever, she's doing. But yeah, some people are fans, some aren't, but I quite like it, and it's a difference. So,
you're a fan, that's fine.
I like it. Yeah, exactly. I like my work.
Obviously your name on that Diary of a C.E.Oh is a play on the other one, which we won't discuss because it's obviously not as big as
it's the rubbish version.
Exactly.
But what is that? Have you got ambitions to kind of run your own show one day? Because I feel like a lot of your chat has been about building your own knowledge about everything, and albeit I know that will help you with your job, but is it because you've got like kind of future ambitions for yourself as well?
Not really. I mean, I have toyed with it before, like doing a podcast series or something, but I'm a bit like, everyone who I kind of know, who I could kind of ask to be like, oh, come on, we'll do like a Scottish brands interviewing people and stuff. Everyone's really busy. Like, do you know what? Everyone's busy. I'm busy. They all live all over the place, so it's hard to get everyone in a place. So I don't know, because I also don't want it to be like, because it's not about me, so I don't want it to be like, oh well, Eilidh's got or whatever. So I don't know, I quite like it as a wee blog, and then we'll see.
Happens.
But I hope no one trademarks it and takes it. But, excuse me.
That would be bad.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, maybe need to go on that then.
Yeah, with TM.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's good, and it's good to hear, like, it's just good to see growth in with people, and just generally around, like, from school having one idea to changing. And actually, you mentioned your mum had suggested the idea of business, so that even that conversation though is huge, and actually where you've ended up, because you were going to go down one path and actually added a little bit of business to your learning, which then turned out to be a fluke by mum, or just like
so she reminds me of it all the time.
You wouldn't be there.
Well, that's it, because like I never studied business in school because it's one of the bugbears, but when they did like your columns for picking subjects, music, French and business were in the same column, and I'm like, that's all the same side of your brain, so I'm a bit like, surely you should spread it, but anyway. So I never did it. Like we had Young Enterprise in school, so we did that in S6. And like loads of like music background and stuff, I was always organising and planning and things, so I'm like, I've got those skills anyway. But yeah, mum's always like, well, I told you should have studied business. I said you were to study business. So yeah, she's got something to blame for it. So.
But that's it as well. But like, even when you were speaking about uni with the like study abroad part of it, like when we're speaking to people about when they're looking at unis, and lots of people know they want to go to uni and they might have an idea of what they want to study, or they might not be sure. It might just be that they want to go to uni. But then one of the things that they might take into consideration is, where is it? A campus? Is it a city? Is it this? Is it that? And one of the things is that sort of study abroad option. And I think it is really important to go in with your eyes open, because like I'm in the border, so a lot of people who I'm speaking to, they're straight away they're going to have to move away from home. It's like, unless there's one uni that they can go to that they can kind of live at home and go to. It's not, and I used to work in Fife, they could commute to Edinburgh, it was easy enough. So it's different, so they're having to go away from home, and then adding in that going away from home and language barriers and things like that. For some people it can be the best thing that ever happened to them, and it's amazing, and for other people it would be really, really difficult, and it's a lot. So it's kind of keeping that in mind as well about comfort zones. And obviously you want to stretch, you're always you're never going to, if you just stay in your comfort zone all the time, then you're not going to develop and learn and things. But how big of a stretch is it? Because you don't want to snap as well. So I think it's really important to that, as much as that's an exciting good thing, it might not be for everyone. So I think that's really good to kind of pinpoint.
And I never planned on going to Stirling, because like I'm local to like I went to school in Stirling, so I was like, I'm never going to Stirling, because like you know what, why would I? And then I was like, I'm going to go to Strathclyde, and I went to the open day at Strathclyde, and nothing against Strathclyde, but I hated it. It was awful. I had a really bad experience, and like I ended up crying in John Lewis with my mum, and it was like a whole thing. And then we went to the Stirling open day, and like the campus is gorgeous at Stirling, like you can't deny it. But open day every year is always a sunny day. It's like the campus is like, ta-da, here you go. And like I'm from like a sporty background, so like I've been brought up playing tennis at the uni when I was like tiny, so it's like very like special place for us anyway. And I went to we always went to the like the language chat, and then I always went to the student life chat because that was a fun one. And my dad this time was like, why don't you go to a marketing one, because I think he might quite like marketing. And I went along and loved it. the guy was great. And I actually never ended up doing marketing or any module, but like that was kind of what sold it to me.
Yeah.
And we're going for a walk and Dad's like, well, what are you thinking? And I was like, I think I might want to study here actually. So my like very set plan was very much pivoted, but it was the absolute best decision because then like I could nip in and out of town if I wanted and then could still stay at home because I was 17 when I went to uni, so like there was no hope of me going out, so it was fine. So yeah, it did work out quite well. So.
And I think that's what's so important about going to open days, because so many people are like, I am going to that uni because it's this and it's that, and like, and they'll go to the open day and it's a lot of it's vibes. It's to do with like as much as obviously the course is important, like that's so important. But if you're going to be somewhere for 4 years, you don't want to go somewhere that you don't like, that makes you cry in John Lewis.
Exactly. I know, because I spoke to the woman who was going to run the course that I'd like had my plan. I was going to go and do it. And I went and spoke to her, and I can't really remember. I think she was quite rude, or she didn't want to chat to me, sort of thing. And I was a bit like, oh, this is not what I planned. And it's so city centre. Like I love Glasgow, but I was very city centre, not what I was used to. And I was like, this is not it. So yeah, it was just like an overwhelm. So I'm very glad I went, and then I'm glad I went to the Stirling one, because I was literally going around, I was like, I'm not going to study here, I'm not going to study here. And then I was now like, okay, so I love Stirling Uni.
And that's like, that shows as well the impact that people can have, like, you know, these people who are doing these open days, like they need to be aware that they can make or breaks whether someone wants to go there or not. And I think sometimes they take it for granted that, well, people want to do the course, so they're going to come here, so I think it's really important that they put their best selves
I know.
across.
That's what I've taken into now as well, because like after the awards thing last year, like I was very lucky. I've had quite a few really exciting opportunities where I've got to meet other people who are either like in school still, like wondering about where they want to apply to, or the people in the industry who are like slightly younger than me. And I'm like, I can either choose to be super standoffish with you, not give you any contacts, not give you the time of day, or I can be really, which is totally not my personality, but
you can choose to be.
Exactly. Or I can be like, okay, do you know this person? Can I help you with this? Like all this sort of thing. Like we were at an event at Dumfries House, and a girl who's just started doing a grad programme. I think she's on the Scotland Food and Drink one, I can't quite remember, but she was new, and I was like, have you met this person, this person, this person? No. Okay, let's go and you can chat to them, and I'm seeing her at an event in a few weeks. So it's one of those things that's like, experiences that have been slightly more negative have made me even more keen to be positive with other people and make sure, like, do you know where you're going? Do you know what this is? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Be the person that you would have liked to have been there for you. Yeah, so 100%.
The try anyway. So.
No, I picked up on something though, right? That you said that you've talked about your music, which you've fantastic. We'll find out more. And you mentioned tennis. So, like, was there a point though through your youth of sport and like music, like? Did you see yourself maybe doing something with that, or was it always just kind of like a pastime? So
not with sport. That was very much like fun. I was very intense with tennis when I was younger. Like I'm from Dunblane, Andy Murray's from there. It's not that exciting. So not the most original sport choice. So like I loved it, but it was just very intense, and it stopped being fun. So I was just like, I don't like doing this anymore. So I took a big break from it, and now I'm back playing like socially, and it's fine. Nice. But yeah, so I was a tenor drummer in pipe bands. So I started that when I was like first year of school, because my big brother's a piper. So I saw the drummers, and I was like, much more fun than piping. So I was like, I'm going to do that. So I did that, and then I taught in different schools locally. I taught abroad a few times, which was great. Taught on like websites, like webinar things. So that really took off. So there was a plan when I was like fourth year. I was like, I think I could probably do this full time, because I was teaching at a couple of private schools and online. And I was like, I probably could go with this. But I think partly I was saying that because in case I didn't get a big girl job, which is nothing against folk who are like drumming teachers, because you can make like a great career out of it, great money. But I think I was kind of like I don't have to try and find a big girl job because I can just be a drumming teacher. So it's totally fine. And I don't have to push myself out of my comfort zone. And then I was like, actually, I don't know if I want to do that full time. And it's a big time commitment doing pipe bands. So I was applying for jobs. I got this job going down south, and then I was like, okay, I think I need to take a back step from bands and go and do this. And I've actually not gone back, because I almost did so much of it. Like I'm very much like an all or nothing. So like I got the job at Simon Howie, and I was like, cool, haggis is my new personality. That's it. That's all I'm going for. So, but it's the same with pipe bands. Like I had band practice in Glasgow twice a week. I was teaching 2 or 3 times a week. We'd have weekend practices. I'd be away teaching. It was like a lot. So there was a plan of doing it, but I'm really glad I changed my mind. Now I can just like, my friends are still in it, so I can go and support them. And I'm like, no, I'm happily retired now. So I'm like a retired former pipe band person. person. So, but still very much in like the thick of it for like the news and things. But no, very glad like I managed to separate it, because I also don't want to make your hobby how you make your money, because that's what I started feeling, because I loved it. But then when I started getting paid for it or traveling for it, it then becomes a job. And then you're like, oh, it's not so fun anymore to then do it on the side. So
so it's something you can go back. You could start like a Simon Howie pipe band or something.
Simon is a top tier accordionist, so he used to travel the world in a band. So he's that, and then his grandkids are all quite musicy. So I mean, it's on the horizon.
It's a possibility there. You know, can you imagine the adverts, the marketing?
Amazing.
Trademark.
Exactly.
No, it's good. The reason I always ask is because obviously you've got pupils who have got hobbies and things that might commit fully to it as a potential career path, and other people will find, like similar to yourself, a decision to be made at some point whether or not it's really what you want to be taking forward. And obviously it's worked for you. I mean, you've been successful, you're currently successful and doing well with all your... In fact, when you mentioned there, I'm all in with haggis, is your Instagram handle not got...
my personal and my work, I have a work haggis account. They both do. And like my WhatsApp, it's Eilidh Wynd, and everyone's like, what is this? And I was like, you need to meet me. And then it's like, oh, this all makes sense.
This is so that really is all in,
if
isn't it?
there's any foods that you would make your personality, it's got to be haggis.
Yeah, it's niche, but like I'm totally in for it. And like now my nickname is Haggis amongst friends now. Like they'll just shout it, and I'm like, yes.
I once went on a date with a guy called Haggis. Like, I don't think his name was actually Haggis.
Surely not. He was nicknamed Haggis.
Was his second name Haggerty? I think his second name was Haggerty, and we went on a date to the cinema. It was awful.
I think mine should be mac and cheese. Like, that's all I eat. Like, when I go out, like, every restaurant I go in, if I've got it, I'm eating it.
Have you tried black pudding with mac and cheese?
Oh, yes.
It's very good.
Black pudding
by the way,
scallops.
do you know what I didn't realise? I actually want to do that now, which means she's really good at sales.
Yeah.
Just threw it out there and I went, I haven't, but it sounds interesting.
Very nice.
But I need it in my life. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I know, black pudding feels like it's always just a morning thing.
Oh, see if you crumble it.
No,
actually
it's
really,
an
really
all
nice.
day.
Is it an all day thing? I would always just have it in the morning.
Yeah.
Like a morning roll or like a big breakfast or something.
Pigs and blankets mac and cheese is really good as well. Strathmore Foods do it. Very nice. Plug £5 from them.
Use code.
Exactly. But no, it's very good.
That's awesome.
But I think that you said earlier, obviously, that sell of haggis to like outside of Scotland, because to us it's haggis and you eat it and it's lovely and it's amazing. So my partner's from England. We won't hold it against him. But he loves haggis, but he had never had haggis till he came to Scotland. And I was like saying that we were literally having this conversation last week when I knew that I was meeting with you. And I'm like, what do you mean you've never had haggis before you came to Scotland? And he's like, we just don't have. And I was like, shut up. How could you live a life without haggis?
Yeah, you can buy. It's quite readily available in England as well, but they just don't try it. But there's weird things. We'll go down south a few times, like Tesco's head office is down in London, Morrison's and all that. It's like Leeds. So we go down for like meetings sometimes or showcases. And we went down and showed, do you know what beef olive is? Right. They had never heard of beef olives before, which I was really surprised.
Is that a Scottish thing?
Yeah. So I think it's also like a northeasty kind of thing as well. But so we took them down, and because we'd served it was like beef olives with mash and gravy. And we're like, beef olives, like, what's that? And I'm like, so it's Lorne wrapped in beef, and like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, right, so Lorne is
the
whole thing, Then they'll try it and they
sausage.
love it, So
I feel like I'm in a unique position here, right, where I could change one part of food in England because you're here. So what I'm going to say is, Simon Howie, can you put potato scones everywhere in England, please? I know it's not part of what you do, but how much of a nightmare when you get a breakfast
and
and
it's
there's no potato
Do you
scone?
know the amount of emails we get from customers, and it's like, I can't get this in this sort of place, can't get this. Lorne is a big one. So you can get Lorne in the northeast of England now, just saying. But you can't get it in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And like I found it when I went down to Lincolnshire, there's weird things you crave. Like I don't eat Lorne that often. When I went down south, that's the only thing I wanted. And I was just like, I can't get it. Like I can't get it. So it's really weird, but yeah, it's just hard to get it, and then you have to fight so hard for shelf space. Because like Scotland, people buy brands more than like own label. It's totally opposite in England. It's very own label heavy, not as many brands. So it's really hard to get space, especially for something that's seen as quite niche.
Yeah,
of course.
So we're
but
fighting
if they tried
fight,
it, they would know.
Well, this is the thing. So yeah, we're fighting the fight. But
I can't believe I'm like in shock. Like, but it's things that you don't realise that are Scottish though. Like I was seeing this to someone the other day about like the word squint. If something's squint.
Yeah.
apparently that's not an English thing.
Well,
Like they would say they mean like squint, like squint your eyes.
The 4 people I lived with in my house, like I adored them, but I gave them an education because they'd never heard of like diluting juice. It was not a thing. Guising wasn't a thing.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah.
And it was just like loads of things like that, and I was like, I think I just got really Scottish as soon as I went over the border. I was like, right, I just be super patriotic. And it was like, there was 2 other folk on the scheme, so there was maybe like 20 people, but there was maybe 2 or 3 people per branch. So there was like 2 people doing commercial, 3 doing finance, that sort of thing. So I think there was maybe 3 or 4 of us in total from Scotland, and it was so insane how Scottish we all went. It was just like, right. So,
where's our kill?
Yeah,
when you mentioned scheme there, you had to tell them that's also something totally different in Scotland.
I know, and it's like I taught them how to Ceilidh dance. And it's like our kitchen, it was so funny, like because I moved in, it was the second wave of lockdown, so we were like, we all have to be friends now because we don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So I was like, I must have moved in like the 4th of January, and then obviously Burns is the 25th. And I feel like it was very much foreshadowing my future career because I was just like, cool, we're going to do a Burns supper. I'm going to cook you haggis.
And you have to speak to
obviously Simon Howie's. And I taught them how to Ceilidh in this really skinny kitchen, and I was like teaching them like a gay gardens and all this. And then we had like a ball thing at the end of every grad year, and it was like a disco, and everyone was Ceilidh dancing. I was like, I'm so proud. I'm like, my work here's done.
I have done this.
So as soon as you go over the border, everyone just goes really Scottish.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
We're like doing like international talks now because let's be honest, I know it's down south, do you know what I mean? But it's a different world.
Oh, I had this whole day. I was
world.
just like, you've got south, because they all talk about the north-south divide, and we were like, you're all just south. I'm like, there's down south, really south, and then like Devon. Like, you're just all south.
Absolutely.
And they're like, oh yeah, you're from up north. And I'm like, Scotland.
Like, that's different.
Whole other country up there. But yeah, very niche. But
I'm going to ask one thing, right? So just briefly, where we're coming off the fun chat to the real serious chat. No, see, can I ask, like, in terms of business, right? In a career in business, and obviously yours is sales at the moment, but you obviously work with so many different departments and people. What would you say are the kind of 3 core skills, right? Things that you feel you have to use on a daily basis to get through what you're doing?
Good and clear communication. Like, as much as like I love a gab, love a chat, and I've very much learned it in this job, the clearer and more concise your emails are, the better, because people have like such a short attention span, especially our guys when they're so busy. They don't want to read my big waffly email. It's like really clear deadlines, bold things, like, because we talk about order days, depot days, delivery days, because we'll get like an order on a Monday, it goes into a depot on a Tuesday or something. So it's like, what type of day are you talking? Are you talking in units? Are you talking in cases, kilos, all that? So it's like really clear communication is the main one. So I'd say that's the first one. It's hard to pick, like really narrow it down. I think like being able to listen and like really being like a good team player, because so especially in the build up to like Christmas and Burns, the pressure and stress like really increases, so you have to be able to kind of listen to what everyone's stressed about, because it'll be, okay, have we got enough freezer space, have we got enough raw material coming in, what's going on with this, have we ordered this in? So trying to be the person who's like listening, understanding, that sort of thing. And you have to be resilient, which I am still working on. But it's everyone cries in the toilets every now and then. It's totally fine. But trying to be resilient, especially in sales or commercial, like being the point of contact, you have to listen to people's concerns, but also you can also be if someone's really stressed, you're the person that they're going to have to come to. And if something goes wrong, you have to be the one to tell the buyer or the wholesaler or something if something's gone wrong. So we had that when I was down south. I don't know if you remember, but it was like 2 or 3 years ago, a boat got stuck in the Suez Canal. We had fruit on the other side of the boat.
Oh no.
So there was like a watermelon shortage, and I've never spoke about watermelon so much in that job. Like, I am traumatized by it. It's such a thing. Like, another woman who I worked with, she posts about watermelon on LinkedIn, and we're both just like, I can't talk about watermelon anymore. So, but you have to be the one that has to talk about it and like deal with it. So being resilient to change or issues, you kind of just have to roll with. So yeah, which you kind of learn on the job, but kind of having like a little bit of a thicker skin, you kind of have to deal with, because I take things quite personally, because I care about my job. So something goes wrong and I'm like, they now hate me. So like getting a bit more resilient and being like, it's just haggis. It's just black pudding. It's totally fine. So yeah, a bit of resilience I think you need to do as well.
But also that self-awareness as well that you have of saying, I'm a bit emotional, I take things to heart, and being able to almost, it's maybe not easy in the moment, I think, but being able to say, like, this isn't actually, like you say, like, it's haggis, it's black pudding, it's whatever, but also being able to say, I'm taking this a bit harder because I care.
Yeah,
And that's okay to care a bit more and to find it a bit
Yeah.
harder, but also to kind of just give yourself the grace you would give other people, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's
So,
what a lot of my LinkedIn posts were. It's just kind of like it's not about me, it's fine. They're just stressed or whatever. And it's like, I didn't even cry in this meeting. I'm so proud of myself. Did have to go to the toilets afterwards, but it's totally fine. So yeah, that's something I'm still working on, but a good skill to have.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
100%.
It's great. Honestly, it's been a really good podcast because of the personal touch. Like, I think this is the thing why we're really enjoying these career stories is everybody's got their own journey, their own life, their own challenges, their own kind of personalities and how they fit in the jobs. And I think when we talk to pupils about their future plans, it's hard to see that person in that job. And you get work experience and sometimes that's really helpful. But what this has given them a chance to see is like, an industry in which is really massive, but actually maybe untouched and untalked about a lot of the time. But also the fact that when we're thinking of business, did you think about this? And you've really shown that like amazing today. And obviously we are starving now.
That's so hungry. That's the downside.
Yeah, absolutely. We're now definitely going into the shop, getting haggis.
Oh yeah, that's definitely my dinner tonight.
From Simon Howie.
Yeah, obviously.
That was ridiculously perfect timing. It was so
So
great.
can we just decide right now that we're best friends?
Yeah, that's what's happened here today. Obviously,
I found my new podcast.
that's it. We'll be back in and obviously there are other food brands we can't discriminate against them as well.
They're all awful though.
But, listen, just want to say thank you so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you so
having
much.
us. That's us finished with another episode of the Career Stories podcast. We will be back again. We've had some great stories. Well, today, obviously, by far one of your favourites, I can tell.
Obviously.
Like, for sure.
I'm going to go make a jelly cat when I get home.
I know.
It's great fun.
I know, AI tools everywhere. So yeah, thank you very much for listening and we'll see you on the next one.